Now guys, this evening's video is all about bases and how important I think it is for them to pretty much match each other and match the terrain that you're playing games on or doing role play with when you're using models and things like that. So, you know, daft little things like miniatures bases. I'll give you a couple of different examples when we pan down to the table. But there's two different aspects of this. One is the wargaming aspect, which when I do my my bases for 40k or Age of Sigmar, whichever it is, or roleplaying, but let's say 40k for example. My enemy's army have a sandy, base with a few bits of green stuff on it, and the allies have a sandy base with a few bits of green stuff on it and all the rest. So that the two armies match each other, the uniformality of the two armies match each other. Now, I try and do that throughout the entire length of all my armies, and it's exactly the same with Age of Sigmar as well. So, quick example: dwarf there, he's got grey type stony, earthy base with green flock on it. And I haven't got a goblin here, but I'll use a Nurgle. Same thing, grey, stony sort of base with flock, and that's got a few bushes and things. Sylvaneth, because the tree creatures, I've added a little bit more detail to their bases, and they've got flowers and such, but it's still the same theme, still sort of like green flock, grey base. So even though there is slight variations between the bases where some might have a bit of shading on it, I still try and keep one section sandy because I'm going to be tending to base most of my 40k stuff in a deserty Mars type atmosphere, and my Age of Sigmar stuff on sort of grassy type terrain, or there might be a few winter type things with wood, spruce, sparse woodland stuff. So it's the uniformality of the two armies coming on the table together, and one's not got a sandy base and one's got a stony base and one's got a water type effect base, and this just to keep them together for visualization, which I think is especially important if you're doing stuff, if you're filming war games and stuff like that. Then there's another aspect, which is when you're doing a scenario. So I'll talk more about this and show you more when I pan down. But scenario specific things is such as when you're just going to do something and you think you're only going to use that situation once or twice, at the most. You're not going to be getting the armies out week in, week out, or month in, month out. It's just going to be for a specific, maybe to end a boss thing at a role playing event or just one of your role play sessions. So there, I think you can be a little bit more exacting. You can, if you're doing a scenery, you can make that miniature have the exact same scenery as the actual scenery that you've created as well. And I'll show you what I mean when I pan down. So we'll look at that. I'll pan down. I'll show you a couple of examples of the different armies. I'll use the 40k as the examples, and I'll show you what I mean with the specific things as well. And at the end of the video, we'll come back here and I'll talk about just a few things that are going on with the channel, because I am planning on getting stuck into the channel a bit more often now. So we'll go pan down on these different examples, guys, and I'll talk to you in a minute. Bye bye. So talking about having your armies to match each other, the bases. So there we go. If we look at these Space Marines, are in a bit of predicament here. We've got the sandy ground, like the parched earth type ground. So just basic sand flock on the miniatures, and then if we pan over to the Necrons that are assaulting them, you see it's identical, and it runs along the entire length, the entire theme of the army. Even to the scouts. So You can see there, if you're playing from a tabletop point of view, you've got pretty much everything uniform, and it just for me, it just looks neater on the table. So I'll show you. So that's for a tabletop wargaming scenario, why I think it's important to try and keep your models pretty much based the same way. Now I'll show you an example of a Dungeons and Dragons themed or a roleplay themed situation. So in this scenario, we've got a board I used just out of a piece of cardboard from an old TV box, bit of polystyrene, and it was just 2-minute job. Sprayed it grey. Well, I basically put the effect on using sand and filler, and put some filler on the bits of polystyrene just to make them look like blocks of ice, like shards of ice, or snow clusters, whatever you were, and that was it done. Dry brushed it 2 coats of white, and that was that. So if we add a dragon in the centre of it, if we look at the base, you know, it pretty much matches the scenario, and yeah, you stick the figures around that, or stick some other type of ice creatures around it, and you've just got a nice ice scenario. This is an ice cave where the guys are going to fight this dragon as a final boss. He'll be sat in the corner there. It's just, you know, a very specific thing. That's why I made the base very specific. Instead of putting like rocks on, like normal grey slate rocks, I wanted it all to be just white ice, because I say that never really get used again. Okay, so I showed you some examples there on the table. I think the lads are looking forward to fighting that white dragon. They know that it's coming. Okay, so onto the channel anyway. So first things first is, this is going to be the last time that I'll be using this editing suite, because I've just invested in a new editing suite, so I'm working on that, trying to learn it, and hopefully next time round be a completely different editing suite. The camera, I'll sometimes use this same camera, probably when I'm filming painting tutorials, which I'm going to start doing a few more painting tutorials. However, I've just bought a brand new camera for filming things like battle reports and such. And the hobby itself, so I showed you some of the Sylvaneth. I've got the Sylvaneth skirmish army sorted. I'm just finishing off the Nurgle skirmish guys now. They'll literally be done tonight, so they'll be ready. It's just the bases to finish off, and a little bit touch more detail on the horn, and then they're done. The dwarves are done, and the goblins are done. So pretty much I'm hoping from next week or the week after, skirmish is going to be done. That's going to be something I'm really going to be focusing on the channel. I really love Age of Sigmar skirmish, and I'm going to try and go through and build up 4 armies, my wife's, my son's, and 2 baddie armies for myself, and do them along and build them into a path to glory. So that is definitely going ahead. They're done now. 40k down the line, I've got 40k armies. I've got minimum 2,000 point armies ready now, but I'm more concentrating on painting up the skirmish armies at the minute. Roleplay wise, we're going to look at a few starter box sets, maybe invest a bit of time into Call of Cthulhu, because I've just bought the Call of Cthulhu stuff, and I used to do that years ago, so maybe pick that mantle up again, because I know one of my mates wants to do that with his wife and everything. D&D, the world's largest dungeon. What I'm going to do with that is, that's kept on going, even though I had a hiatus from the channel. That's kept on going, but I keep a diary of things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a recap, and doing a couple of stages, bringing you back up to scratch. I'll do it in screenshots and a narrative, me speaking over the top and such, and catch you up until you're right up to date with them, and then we'll see with the lads, see if they're happy, and we'll start filming the videos for World's Largest Dungeon again. and we're going to do some more painting tutorials, and we'll just look at a few other bits and bobs as well, but really want to get stuck into the channel from now. Another thing I'll be doing as well is when I do the skirmish, I'm going to be doing it based around the Warhammer Total War series, because the Warhammer Total War is based in the old world, but they've brought across a lot of the Age of Sigmar type armies like the Sylvaneth. They're bringing the Ogre Kingdoms in the third expansion. So I'm going to involve that somehow. I've been looking at a few bits and bobs for that. So hope you like this video, guys. Hope I didn't wear it on too much, and I'll see you very soon, hopefully. So take care. I'll see you soon, guys. Bye bye.